Hi everyone, how are you doing? Today I would like to talk to you about the simple past tense. The simple past tense is used to talk about actions, events, or states that happened or existed in a time before now. Basically, they're finished actions. Check out this timeline. The time of simple past actions can be in recent past, the distant past, and the duration does not matter. For example, I watched a movie last night. Our neighbor moved in last week. You can associate the simple past tense with certain past time expressions like 1. Adverbs of frequency. Always, usually, often, sometimes, hardly ever, and never. For example, when I was a child, I sometimes rode my bike to my grandma's home. Jason never cheated at school. 2. A definite time in the past. January 31st, last week, 2 years ago. For example, I was born on January 31st. Millie bought a guitar 2 weeks ago. 3. An indefinite time in the past. Many years ago, ages ago, a long time ago, in the past. For example, people used birds to send their letters in the past. We visited different museums when he was here.
Alright, now time to discuss the structure. In the simple past tense affirmative statements, you start with the subject, then you use the past form of the verb, and then whatever you have in your sentence. Never forget to finish each statement with a full stop. The structure is the same for both singular and plural subjects, so there is only one form in the simple past tense. We stayed in a very cozy inn. It rained yesterday. Mindy slept peacefully all night. I had a lovely weekend. There are two general types of verb forms in the simple past tense, regular and irregular. Regular verbs are those which only get an ed added to them, like open, opened, stay, stayed. Look, looked, watch, watched. Irregular verbs, on the other hand, are those which either change completely into a different form, like eat, ate, drink, drank, see, saw, buy, bought, which you have to memorize in lists, or stay the same way they already are, like put, put, cut, cut, set, set, cost, cost, hit, hit. The verbs do, have, and be are also irregular. Do, did, have, had. The different forms of be are am changes to was, is changes to was, and are changes to were. On to spelling rules for the simple past form. Verbs that end in E only get a final D. Like imagine plus ed, you only get one E and then a D. Change, changed. Verbs that end in a vowel plus Y get ed, like stay, there's an S sound before Y, you get the ed and the spelling doesn't change. Stayed, employ, employed. Verbs that end in a consonant plus Y, on the other hand, get IED, like study ends in D, Y. You change the Y to I, studied. Carry, carried. Verbs that end in stressed vowel plus consonant get their last consonant doubled. Stop, the stress is on A. Stopped, the P doubles. Ban, the stress is on A. Plus ed, you get banned and the final N is doubled. Pronunciation rules for the ed. Ed can have three different sounds, d, t, and id. If you only say the verb out loud, you'll naturally know which pronunciation to go with, like arrive. It's certainly really difficult to say arrived. So, arrived, failed, agreed. T, asked, crossed, stopped. Verbs ending in ch, s, p, k, f, sh sounds get their ed pronounced as t. It, wanted, decided, started. Verbs that end in d and t sounds get their ed pronounced as id. Now, here's a very common pronunciation error between English students. They think that each verb that gets an ed has to get the id or ed final syllable, which is totally wrong. You only apply this to verbs that end in d and t sounds. Negative statements. Subject, didn't, base form of the verb, and whatever else you have in your sentence. Just like affirmative statements, the structure is the same for both singular and plural subjects, like I didn't do something, you didn't do something, she didn't do something. Remember that whenever there is a did, there cannot be a past form, ed or irregular. I didn't take the test. Take is in its base form. She didn't sign the contract. He didn't fulfill his promise. We didn't go there. They didn't remember the details. Yes, no questions. Did, subject, base form, and the rest of the question. Did you see the movie? Yes, I did. No, I did not. Or the contracted version, I didn't. Did Kim stay for dinner? Yes, she did. Or no, she didn't. Did they invite you to dinner? Yes, they did. Or no, they didn't. And finally, WH questions. You start with the WH question, which can be where, what, who, when, how. Then you use did, and then the subject, and then the base form of the verb, and whatever else you have in your question. Don't forget to end it with a question mark. I've made a mistake and I've ended it with a full stop. Where did you go? How did you like my new song? When did the Simpsons come back? Who did you call? Note that in the simple past tense, just like the simple present tense, when the WH question word is the subject, which means it is asking about the subject, do not use the auxiliary did in the question. For example, the officer stopped the drunk driver. The subject of the sentence is the officer, and the object is the drunk driver. Let's ask about the subject first. Who stopped the drunk driver? The officer did. And now about the object. Who did the officer stop? He stopped the drunk driver.
So that's it for the simple past tense. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and write some sentences using the past tense in the comments down below. Bye!